A couple of months ago, I got laid off. And like thousands of others, the job search began. What sucks is, this isn't necessarily the opportune time to be looking for a job. So I thought to myself, what kind of job am I actually looking for? And what unique skills do I have that I can market for myself? And after thinking, after trying to figure out what am I really passionate about, I decided that it would be great to have a Japanese job. I started this YouTube channel after moving to Japan, going to language school in order to learn the Japanese language, and also practice making videos because I had no experience whatsoever. I thought it was a great outlet in order to share my journey about moving to Japan and all of the new and interesting things that I was learning throughout that process. And so, ever since moving back to the States, I've been trying to incorporate Japanese culture and language into my hobbies as well as my professional life. But with my current Japanese, which standardized tests would not deem as fluent, how am I going to get a Japanese job? How does one even go about finding a Japanese job? Luckily, I connected with Japanese jobs expert Kasia, who is in charge of the Nihongo Jobs Board as well as the company Ikigai Connections. I had the pleasure to sit down and talk with her about the age-old question, how do I get a Japanese job? First, we need to get to know Kasia and figure out why she is a Japanese jobs expert.
はじめまして、皆さん、カシャと申します。Ikigai Connections の代表です。どうぞよろしくお願いします。I did the MEXT scholarship, went to Tokyo. I entered graduate school as well, and then decided I have to stay in Tokyo forever because Tokyo is fantastic. I got a job in the music industry. And then I only left Japan after 8 years because I wanted to try out interpreting translating, which led me to Poland in the electronics industry, doing Polish, English, and Japanese. And then I went back to Michigan and worked in the automotive industry. And now here I am. I wanted to create a job board for people that if they want to find a Japanese job, regardless of the country, here's where to look. So I have a bunch of advice. Obviously, I focus on the United States because that's where I am. But I firmly believe that anybody who studies Japanese and wants to use it in a career absolutely can. So that is my Ikigai.
Okay, she passed the test. Someone out here trying to help find people's Ikigais as well as showcase Japanese jobs? Hey, I'm right there. Sign me up. Now the first question is very simple. How do I find a Japanese job? For those of you that have tried to find a Japanese job before as a foreigner, you're probably aware that the hardest thing to find is the V card. Wait, by V card, do you mean... No, not that V card. I'm talking about a visa. But Kasia helps find Japanese jobs in America, which opens a lot more doors.
First, if you want to do a Google search, find the consulates. The Japanese consulates in your areas, that tends to be where the Japanese companies congregate. So here in Michigan, we have a consulate that represents Ohio and Detroit. We got a Chicago one nearby. California has 2 at least, from my understanding. And then after you look for the consulates, look for the Japan America societies or Japan societies. That's where a lot of the Japanese companies are located. Plus, there's companies that have no Japanese headquarters, but their customers are Japanese. So they have to figure out and scramble and find people to help them. There's so many ways that you can find the Japanese related jobs, except you gotta kind of look for them. So my job board could be a first starting place, but if you are set on a particular region, maybe you have to go to them and promote yourself and say, hey, I think I'd be great at this company because of X, Y, and Z. And oh, by the way, I know Japanese, or I went to Japan and I know you're headquartered in Japan. Let me help you out.
A Japanese job in America that can open new doors to get to Japan? Okay, sign me up. That's a game changer for me. But once again, my fears outweighed the possibilities as a new challenger was approaching. AI.
Hello, humans.
Even in Japan, where the process to adopt new technology is slower per se, ChatGPT is being adopted for government work, although that will still only make up 7% of people actually using it as desk work in Japan. But will AI and translation technology eventually take over Japanese jobs?
No matter how much AI you have, no matter how good your Google Translate or DeepL or whatever this AI stuff is for translation, it's still kind of not the same as that human connection, the human way to go through miscommunications, because they're gonna happen. No matter what time, what year, to this day, there's always still miscommunications happening. It's only because we just don't understand what we don't know. So I still believe that Japanese is a very important skill to know. It's a very difficult language to learn for people who are not native Japanese. I mean, if you can understand the 3 alphabets or the 2 main alphabets and kanji characters, that just goes to show that you really put a lot of time and effort into understanding this culture.
Whew. Okay, this is sounding more and more promising. But that still doesn't solve one of the biggest roadblocks. Well, maybe my biggest roadblock, which is Japanese level. In the next episode, I get to talking about one of the most important questions for prospective Japanese jobs employees as well as Japanese language learners. How good at Japanese do you need to be to get a Japanese job? But until then, you can watch my full conversation with Kasia on my episode of the We're Not Daijobu podcast. So make sure to subscribe so you know when the next video is out.